Davies in the middle. Checks back against Carter and scores. That is atypical for the Amina Margot.
Quickly gets it back again. Oh, what a goal! Well, that sums up her season. The Gunners are WSL champions.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Vic Akers Wonderland. My name is Matt. I am your host for today's show, and with me is our usual partners in crime. Lottie, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm a bit tired after yesterday's antics. I was up to no good, but it's what the Arsenal men do to me. Thankfully, the women haven't sent me over the edge yet, but yeah, but we're here for international football, so let's just brush the boys to one side for now. But how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Adam, our new superstar. How are you?
Mr. Popular.
But I am neither a star nor am I super. We should make that absolutely clear. And I don't know if we have time to. I think to explain Matt's point.
I think we need to explain.
I'll quickly clarify it. So I'm actually absolutely knackered because this weekend, Easter weekend, while you've all been eating chocolate, I've been out on track working, doing some engineering works. And before I hit my shift, I thought I'll just check to see what the totals are for the upcoming Wolfsburg game. And I thought, oh crikey, for the first time ever, we've got the entire thing all opened up, European, we haven't done it in a while. I thought, oh, I'll just screenshot it and dump it on Twitter. Look how amazing this is. And then the Arsenal women's team spotted it and retweeted it. And I came off track. And when your notification bell on Twitter says 20 plus, something's happened. And so I was like, oh Christ.
Yeah, well, technically between me and Matt, we had to tell you that it had happened.
Yeah, I know.
And you were like, what's going on? I'm so confused.
Exactly, because I'm just up there with swinging points and checking signals as my normal sort of paid job, and then I was getting a few notifications on the WhatsApp from you two, and then I thought, oh crikey, what have I done? But people liked it.
For once, you're not in trouble though. Look at it that way.
It's a nice change of pace. It was a nice surprise to get it, and then of course I had to drive home, and that was an equally stressful experience because I had the radio on and had to listen to our game at Anfield. That was not a fun experience.
Yeah.
Forgiven now, as we're gonna talk about the women and especially the Arsenal women. But first things first, we had a final coming up. The South American champions, Brazil, and our ever favourite Brazilian centre-back, Rafaele, leading the line, as well as the Lionesses themselves, captained by Leah Williamson, one of our very own. Did any of you catch the press conference?
No.
I didn't watch the full thing, but I've obviously seen the clips and them two. Between Leah Williamson and Rafaele, they just won my heart. Best centre backs in the WSL. No one can tell me otherwise. Regardless of my Arsenal bias, them two. You see them at the back, you're just comfortable, and I'm not necessarily worried. And I've noticed recently, and excuse my language for everyone who is listening, it's at the point where Rafaele, even Victoria Pelova, has learned the rest. Leah's resting bitch face before a game, and when she's so angry and she's so ready for this game. But you just know she's up for a game when she looks like that, and the rest of the team all sitting there with smiles. I think the best one I've seen is everyone's smiling, including Viv, and Leah's just there, face dead straight. You never see Viv smile in the team photos. No, that's actually one of my favourite team photos ever. But back to the internationals. It's so good to see them. That you can see their friendship shine through the interview, regardless if they were playing each other, and it's heartwarming.
it's heartwarming. It's also heartbreaking. It's the classic, children's TV film. Friends turned enemies. They played with each other. They love each other, but now they must fight each other for the right to be deemed the best team between Europe and South America. Which, I think the World Cup was meant to design the best team
But
in the
then
world.
again, it is the perfect warm up for Rafaeli to keep Russo in her pocket, which she did very well.
Yeah, especially in the second half. I mean, but yes, we saw the clips. We saw that Leah and Rafa complimenting each other, and which was really nice to see. And yeah, absolutely, it's a fine centre back partnership. It's just criminal this season that thanks to injuries, and now even more injuries, that partnership has just not been there. Certainly for the first half of the season, and almost certainly for the remainder of the season. Leah and Hafa won't be partnered at the back, which is a real shame because it's a brilliant partnership. They complement each other so well, and it was really good to see. I mean, it was the first time I'd seen Brazil play since I think probably the World Cup. And it was really, and that, of course, now I'm a bit more aware. Obviously, Hafa's at the back, but I thought there was some, good to see what they could do. I do have a bit of an interesting soft point with this because Brazil was the first women's international game I ever went to at the Olympics. 2012, I actually watched them play. I think it was New Zealand, so there was an element of sort of full circle there. So yes, it was a. I remember watching that on TV. You were at the game, weren't you, Lottie?
Yeah.
Did you go, Matt?
I did, yes.
You did,
Me and Matt met up beforehand. We went and grabbed some food and stuff. But I had the best seats, I've got to say.
You were ringside. You were ringside, weren't you?
Full rows from the front, and all the football was at my end of the pitch, and I was like, yes.
Yes, I was watching it from with the family on TV, which it was nice. It was warmer, and having to explain who most of the players are and so on to the rest of them. But it was especially in the second half, it became a very stressful experience, as I'm sure we'll dig into.
Okay, so just to let everyone know about the press conference, both Hafa and Leah were complimenting each other. That was the common theme throughout this press conference, when they were very complimentary to each other, and that just goes to show the difference between if you were to do this in a get in the men's game, it'd be a little different. With say Arsenal and Tottenham in the same room. If you had Martin Odegaard and Harry Kane in the same room, I'm sure it would be more like a boxing match. But that's the point. We'll go into, as Adam's already mentioned, myself and Lottie were there. What was the atmosphere like for you, Lottie?
Do you know what? I'll be honest with you, being so low down on the ground, back at the Euros, it was much better. So much better than it was this time round. I understand there's a lot of fans there that don't regularly watch the women's games. I had a few kids behind me that drove me absolutely insane. It got to the point I said, I don't know why we're here. Like, I'm sitting there thinking I can name about 5 people who have bought tickets gladly. Like, and it did really disappoint me. But the kids as well, you've got to give them the benefit of the doubt. But the older ones annoyed me. They really annoyed me. I'm sitting there and I'm getting kicked in the back. I got kicked in the back of the head at one point. Don't ask me how. Do not ask me how.
Why does that matter?
I can't do that when I'm on the other side.
Oh right, okay.
I don't mean to be funny, Adam, but I expect that off you, not Adam, not Matt. You're like a foot and a half taller than us, so don't even go there.
Yeah. Okay.
I expect that from you, not Matt. So
I know.
Yeah.
I do tower above both of you. Sorry.
Yeah, we'd need a step ladder if we would attempt that, to be fair.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I think you are right. There was a lot of certainly atmosphere because watching on TV, it wasn't bouncing, roaring. It was about as quiet as watching England's men's team play, except we were a bit more entertaining. Which
don't get me wrong, the band was there.
Well, that makes it worse, doesn't it?
It doesn't. They tried. The band tried. I have to give them credit for that. They tried, and it's a case of there's a lot of kids there, and the adults should be leading the way, but some of the adults didn't seem to want to.
But then why are they there? Why have you bought tickets to watch a Lioness game if you're well confused? So, did you think you were watching the men's team versus Brazil?
But there's also this conception. We've had this conversation when we're talking about domestic football, that women's football is all hugs and smiles. We're all friends. We all like each other. No, we do not.
Oh, I hate that.
We do not. As much as I love Rafaela, that night I had to hate her, and it felt so wrong in myself. Like I had to pretend to hate her, and I never want to do that again. I'll be honest with you, I can't do it. But like it's there's no. Although we're seeing it as Arsenal fans, we're seeing it with the rivalry with Chelsea and Arsenal. Tottenham is always there, but Tottenham don't really turn up. But you know what I mean. But we're not seeing it internationally yet, and there's small pockets of fans like us that they want to see that rivalry. I mean, the main reason I really wanted to go is I wanted to see Dabina play, I wanted to see Marta play, but they weren't there, so that was really disappointing. But it was interesting to see a bunch of players, apart from Rafaeli, who I see on a regular basis, I've never seen before play. Yeah, although I did question how they played. I was like, nah, I don't like this. But you know,
you could tell also with the level of fan disengagement by the amount of iPhone torches, or
yes, there was that, and then
Samsung torches,
and also the disengagement with the Mexican wave. I hate that. Yeah. I did not take part in that. I was watching the football. And someone said to me, why are you not standing up? I said, because there's a game on and I've paid money to watch these girls play. This person then went on to say to me, oh, so you watch women's football on a regular basis? I went, yeah, I'm an Arsenal fan. I'm an Arsenal fan. I watch most of these girls on a regular basis.
During the Euros, I did partake in a few Mexican waves and did enjoy it. I will hold my hands up to that.
Yeah, I know, but for me, it's just disconnect. Nobody's interested in football. They just want to stand up and do stupidness, as far as I'm concerned. They tried to do that at Arsenal, and I got really pissed off in that quarterfinal.
At least they weren't throwing paper planes onto the pitch,
That is something. That's the one thing I do. You know what I mean? I was waiting for one to come down, but I didn't see any, so which was great.
I didn't have this on the list itself, but actually, the Alex Greenwood head injury, that was when the Mexican wave started, and that's what.
I understand that, but it continued when the game had resumed, and that's what's irritated me more than anything. I'm here to watch the girls play.
Yeah, I remember when I was at an England men's game, and it was so bad. I think it was I went there because when the Spurs game got called off because Spurs suddenly had COVID. A friend of mine who works here, would you want to come to Wembley and watch England play? And I thought, sure, I'll watch some football this weekend. I've got nothing else on. The game was so boring. I think we got 2 laps of Wembley out of it. It was so bad. I mean, it was just we were doing it, and it was like, oh, it's coming around again. Oh, this is fantastic. I think 2 or 3 times it just kept going round. It was that bad a game. We won it, thankfully.
But the thing is with that game though is it wasn't boring football, and that's what I don't understand. No. I sound like I'm having a good old moan here, but it's generally how I feel about everything. The atmospheres are changing, but it needs to change a little bit faster.
It'll get there.
I know it will. I know it will. Domestically, as I said earlier, we're seeing it. We're seeing it, and I'm here for every moment of it.
You can't deny that in that first half, though, the England fans that were there and were engaged, they got their money's worth.
Oh no, definitely 100%. I'm not complaining about that. It's just like second half, it's dragging out. We're 1-0 up still, and then they go 1-1, and
I'll tell you what. I don't know if you saw were able to hear the Brazilians that were in there though, because there was quite a few pockets. One of them was right towards the corner.
That was 2 blocks down from me. I did see them. They took up that nice little corner.
It was fantastic they were heard. To be able to hear. Sometimes you don't hear the supposed away fans, and it was nice to hear that there was a few Brazilians spotted here, there, and everywhere. Especially where there was 2 Brazilian fans right on top of us, and they were singing loud and proud, and it's great to see that they're happy to show off their national identity and not be attacked for it in the best way I can.
Yeah, no, I do feel like I did attack the England fans there. I do apologise. I'm just very passionate about my
Is this the problem as well, though? Is that we look at the 3 Lionesses? I'm going to show this out now. They had a meet up there in their usual pub at Wembley. We didn't actually get to go because of everything that was going on. I think this is the problem, isn't it? Is that trying to get that awareness and get all those songs out. And if you've got the marching band, that's brilliant. But the next step is making sure everyone knows those words and where to find them. Just so everyone knows, I will have a quick look to see if I can find the three Lionesses. But in the meantime, so 22 minutes it took before England went on to score. Leah goes and passes the ball to Lauren James towards the just past the middle of the pitch. And Lauren James then plays a nice, lovely through ball into Lucy Bronze. Lucy Bronze carries on her run into the box, puts the ball across for Ella Toone, and Toone goes and tucks it away right into the bottom corner. Thoughts?
It was like watching Brazil versus Brazil. I mean, that's the best way I could put it. It was beautiful, quick, one-touch pass movement. Wasn't a Hail Mary pass or a scruffy pace. It was just pure football, and it's not. And it's easy just to play that if you're playing against Luxembourg or Latvia or Lithuania, but you're playing out doing that level of football against Brazil, and it was really good to see. And it's another Wembley goal for Toone to add to the collection. She's making a very nice habit of doing that for England, which is good to see. And yes, it was sort of, it felt like watching from home. It was sort of a right, excellent. We're off. We're up and running. First goal. Brazil have not really been anywhere near it. We've been in full control. The passing's been good. The movement's been good. The goal, really good to see. I mean, the best way I could put, if you let's say you put that into the men's team, you'll be saying, oh, this is it's like an Arsenal goal, like an Arsenal Arteta. You could easily see that as a Ben White overlap cutback, an Odegaard sweep. It was that high level quality goal, and it was, which is, I think, maybe as an England fan, and maybe I'm just sort of slightly, I won't say pessimistic, but I don't associate that with England. We're so used to it being a scruffy, deflected, or a header from a corner. The idea that we play exciting football feels weird, but it's not. It was a brilliant goal. Loved watching it, and thankfully Toone was there to convert. I mean, the space she had in the box, created obviously by the movement, but it was like, oh crikey, it was ridiculously easy. And as great as we were, it does, I think, also owe a lot to Brazil, the way Brazil set up as well, because in that first half, as I'm sure we'll discuss into, they weren't on it, but we took full advantage. A brilliant goal from Toone.
No, I completely agree there. I mean, I can't add much more to that. Adam, as always, hits the nail on the head. But yeah, no, I really did enjoy that goal. Obviously, celebrations got past. It was right in front of me. I was like, I actually lost my phone. I'm just glad someone returned it to me. My phone had died earlier in the first half, and it just went. It was gone. So I went a bit mad for a Ella Toone goal, and it's one of them things where it's those moments that you won't forget.
No.
So absolutely brilliant goal.
I did forget in that build-up that Lucy Bronze did play a lovely 1-2 pass to Georgia Stanway as well before putting that ball across.
I think I saw a study. Please correct me if I'm wrong, because as a stat man, you'll know. I heard something about like almost every player in the team or something touched the ball. I don't know if I suppose I was saying on Twitter, but I think it was something like a lot. Well, certainly there was a lot of passings in the move. It wasn't a very quick thing. It was a big passing move thing. I again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that almost every outfield player touched the ball. It certainly felt like it, because the way they zipped around the pitch was just brilliant.
I think that's right. I have to go back and double check that. It felt like it was a really good work goal, and it's a lot of this time we've seen England score all sorts of goals, and as Adams rightly said, it was very un-English in the way that it scored. But again, 6 minutes later, 28 minutes. Lauren James goes to chip Leticia, the Brazilian goalkeeper, only for her to be called offside. Just want to get your thoughts on that.
From where I was sitting, she was offside.
She was offside, yes, and that's unfortunate. It was. I remember going in and you're thinking, wow, we're on a roll, and it's just not timing the runs right. Should actually say on the topic of offside, obviously women's football has a bit of a sort of mixed with technology in terms of when they're using it, when they're not using it. This time around, not only was VAR used, semi-automated offsides were also in use. And that would have been probably why some of these offside calls were made very, very quickly. I don't know how it looked for you, at least what the stadium experience was like, whether you got it on the screen with the 3D models and the walls or anything. But
Nope.
but were the decisions made quick?
Yeah, no, I was happy with most of them.
Yeah.
No complaints at all.
Wasn't any long, lengthy 2-minute, 5-minute delays that tried to,
No, not at all. I mean, we did have I think the second half we had an extra 6 minutes, which was a bit odd.
There were injuries.
Yeah, no, but it's mostly because a lot what happened to Lauren Hemp. So
yeah, she got Leopold.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
Yeah, the automated systems worked really quite well. The one issue I did have is a lot of people jumped up for that goal expecting it to be given. The linesman's right in front of us, and you can quite clearly see the linesmen wave their flag to go, no, that's offside. But it was
that's just normal football. That's not technology. That's just the rules of football being applied. That's nothing to do with VAR and semi-automatic offside. That's just the rules.
I think there's nothing more satisfying than you just listening to thinking you scored, and then everyone just looks over to the linesman and slowly realizes that it's not been given because it's been offside.
Yeah, if it's the opposition.
Do you know what? It's all right when it's the opposition, but when it's your own team, it's not funny. It's annoying. It's not satisfying at all. If you find it satisfying, Matt, I'm really disappointed.
I was going to say
the
more
most frustrating thing in the world.
For what?
I was thinking more for the linesman, but when you're watching as a neutral, it'll be quite easy as well as I should.
Well, the thing is, the linesman's doing that. Was it? No, the lineswoman. Sorry, because we didn't have any men on the referee and stuff.
The official, the second
official. Yeah. The official, yeah, no,
the
but
assistant ref.
You have to get so technical on me, really?
Yes.
Lineswoman, be done with it. Do you know what? And after all that, I've forgotten what I was going to say. Thank you very much, Mr. Coulter.
Should we just talk about Lauren James for a bit then? Because a lot of people have been to use the young people's phrase, bigging them up, and
down with the kids, aren't you, Matt?
I'm so down with the kids. I just want to get people's thoughts, because to me, if I say what I'm going to say, I think it would be a bit rude to get the.
You're a bit like Mourinho. If I speak, I'm in big trouble. I mean, the problem is my view on Lauren James is quite tinted because she plays for Chelsea. So there is a slight bias there. However, you can't deny that she does have talent. I think she was actually in Arsenal's academy for a while, and then she moved about a bit, went to Man United, and now is at Chelsea. And she's got talent on that wing. The only thing that's going to hold her back is experience. There is a void on the right wing because there's a gap, because Beth Mead's ACL's gone, and she's, as much as the newspapers and media are trying to suggest, she might be. No, she's not going to be at the World Cup. We need to accept that and look to get the replacement in. And it looks like Lauren James could be that replacement. And I don't know. I don't think she, certainly in the second half, I don't think we saw much of her. I do wish she'd scored that goal. Well, she scored it. I wish she'd been on side for that goal. But we've seen plenty from her in previous games, in the Arnold Clark Cup and so forth. That she could make that position her own going into the World Cup. I just think she needs more minutes. She needs more games, sort of getting used to the England setup, know who her teammates are, the movements, how Sarina wants to play. It'll undoubtedly be different to Emma Hayes. How she wants to remember Emma Hayes. She held Lauren back a year. She didn't throw her straight in. She held her back to get her up to speed. And this season, we're seeing what Lauren James can do. But even then, we think about the Conti Cup final. She didn't really shine in that game. So there is an element. Lauren James has to step up in these bigger games. And I think she has the talent to do it. Probably comes down to mentality. But I think it's the space is there for her. It's just whether she has the the mentality and the work ethic to grasp it.
Lottie?
Oh, do you know what? Adam is completely right in what he's saying.
But thank you.
I've actually boxed up my Arsenal hat now. I'm gonna try really hard, because this is gonna hurt. But she is she's not one of my favourites. I think there's a lot of potential there. There's a lot of extremely raw talent there that can be really shaped really well by Emma Hayes as well as Sarina. I feel that she's got a lot to learn. She needs that mentality that the girls who have been there through the Euros have. And she can learn a lot off Millie Bright in that sense. Because Millie Bright, Chelsea teammate, she is an absolutely brick wall at that back when she's fit. So she can learn a lot off Millie, like domestically and internationally as well, regardless if she's a winger or not. But in terms of mentality, definitely pick a few things up off Millie. But yeah, no, I did enjoy her playing, but sometimes I felt like she's a bit like Gio. When she gets to the end, she runs out of options and she just kind of stalls, and that's what really frustrated me throughout that game. And I get why she does it, but sometimes I just need an England player that's coming up alongside her for that support.
You've reminded me. There's a moment. I think it was in the first. I don't know if it's the first half. It might be the first half, where she got herself. Something had happened. I can't remember the exact content, but she got herself free on the left-hand side in the box. And I'm just thinking, right, get the ball out, right foot, whip it in the top corner.
Yeah.
Just. But though she sort of, the touch was poor. She went onto her left. The defenders got crowded around. The chance had gone. And I think there's an element of rawness to her play that Lauren Hemp suffers from England. That's why at the Euros I said Lauren Hemp, huge talented player. She's very raw. Decision making, final third, doesn't always get it right. And I think with Lauren James, you got the same issue. So you got two
definitely
talented players, but are just raw, and so they are going to make mistakes. The judgment isn't right. You look at Beth.
But
look at Beth
if
Mead.
you look between now and the Euros, look how far Lauren has come.
Oh yeah,
compared. When I say Lauren, I mean Lauren Hemp, not Lauren James. Sorry, I just sit there thinking Lauren and Lauren. I'm going to have to say what I'm talking about here.
Lauren wingers. I mean, you just highlight that we got this awesome sort of Lauren front line.
I do also feel with Lauren James that she might need to work on doing the swapping wings.
Switching wings, yeah.
Swapping wings, same thing. Stop correcting me.
I can't help it. Sorry.
Not careful. I'm going to find the mute button and just mute you. No, but the switching wings and things. I think she does need a bit more buffing up, because I believe at Chelsea she just plays on one side. A bit like our Caitlin Ford plays on better on one side than she does the other. So I think she'll have to pick that up. But there's so much talent to be, as I said earlier, to be shaped from higher. It's all possible.
Absolutely.
Just from me, as much as you both have hit the nail on the head with Lauren James being very young, still growing, still developing as a player, she has this habit, I know a lot of you have seen this before, where she'll be running into the edge of the box and she'll shoot wide. Every single time she does this. And
I feel that's more power than it is clinical. I'll be honest with you most of the time. If
you look into the WSL games that she's done this season, every single game she'll do it. But it's only in the odd game, like against a Reading, no offence to Reading, where she'll go and score. Or it'll be, she didn't do it against Leicester, but it'll be the odd game where she does score.
Away at Spurs, she's very similar. Away at Spurs, she cut it through the inside, ran through to the box, and slots at home. And I think that's just technique, that's just practice, and it's just again
it's down to experience.
Yeah,
that's all it is. I mean, that's where you start off. You start off with the how do I put this? The lesser teams. They're not quite as the big names like Arsenal and United. You start off lower down the table, and you gradually build that up. And then you'll find that she'll be getting around the Arsenal defence. She'll be getting around City, around United eventually. But this is going to take time. As Adam said earlier, Emma Hayes held her back for a year for a reason.
Yeah.
And now's the time for her to learn. The World Cup, she's going to come back a stronger player.
I think Lottie's absolutely right. And I think to use an Arsenal men's comparison, we can look at Nicola Pepe and look at Gabrielle Martinelli. Both of them, when they both started off at the same time, both very raw, both very talented. Martinelli was just 100 miles an hour, I'm going to do everything and all at once. And Pepe was trying to adjust. What happened? Martinelli got injured, but Arteta, once he got fit, didn't play him. Played Pepe. Pepe never improved. He never adjusted. He remained raw until the day he got loaned out. Martinelli is so much more refined, and we're seeing that now.
It's also a case of that sink or swim situation.
Exactly.
Martinelli
moment,
swam. Pepe
and
for me,
Pepe
he
sank.
sunk.
Absolutely.
And that's what we're waiting from Lauren James. Is she going to sink or swim for England?
Yeah, and I do think I think the World Cup, I think she'll improve enough for the World Cup, but we won't see the refined, finished article Lauren Hemp at this World Cup. It'll come too soon for her. But
no, neither of them. I think the refined ones will be in the next Euros, which will be in Switzerland in 2025.
Yes,
which is really exciting. And
hopefully
Vic Akers Wonderland is going on tour.
Yeah, and hopefully the players will have reached their peak by then.
Hey.
Definitely.
Well, we'll go a little bit further forward. So Brazil decided to then change formations, bringing on 3 substitutions at halftime, going and switching from a 5-3-2 to a 4-4-2. 58 minutes on the clock. Ella Toon loses the ball from the Brazilian press. Geisa latches onto the ball. She has a shot from outside the box. Mary Earps goes to save. The ball then goes onto the crossbar and then bounces out for a corner.
It did. Very, very nerve-wracking.
Sigh of relief there. Sigh of relief, honestly. I just saw it. I was like, no. And then I just heard people relieved on the other side of me. It's just one of those moments you just can't look. No. I've been doing that a lot in the last few days, but it's just I can't watch a moment.
Enough about the Arsenal men.
Didn't mention them. You're the one who mentioned them.
Hey, I'm just saying that when I got home, there was a lot of watching that game through my fingers for the last 20 minutes. Yeah, exactly. And pretty much the second half was watching it, just staring at the clock and willing it to go faster, because Brazil were all over us. The change in formation, putting more players forward. There was something I saw about, we played 5 at the back because then it gave us more in the second half. So no, just you have the talent, just the fact that the reason you didn't win the game is because you lost it in the first half and you got very lucky actually to get it to penalties. But what they were doing, the press was just intense and we just had no outball. It was either go long, the ball come up to us, we'll play it short, we'll get it picked off. Tooney got swarmed and it was a straight pass, and suddenly they're just thinking, what on earth is going on here? It's the first time I've seen our England team under Sarina be so outplayed. It was unreal. I can think of maybe the Spain game in the Euros, but that was more over possession retention rather than high intensity press and forced turnovers. And it was right. But at the same time, I'm really glad this England team was subjected to this in the second half. This is exactly what I wanted the finalissima to be. I wanted it to be something that will take this England side out of the comfort zone and make them play in a way they don't normally play, because they won't get their own way in the World Cup, and they need to find a way of managing these situations. And they, a lot of it should have got lucky. Fair play to Mary Earps. She's tipped onto the bar, although when I'm watching it, the technique didn't look great, but fair play, save onto the bar away. But in that second half, they were all over us. And the subs that came on, do you have the subs to hand, Matt, who actually came on?
I didn't.
No, I was sorry.
Okay, I'm gonna add. I've got a question. I've got a question for both of you though. Actually,
shoot.
I know we've got Australia tomorrow night, but the finalissima against Brazil, was this the perfect warm up to the World Cup that starts in July?
100%. With too many games we get. The Arnold Clark Cup was just a 3 teams. Any teams from anywhere in the country. There's you saw that, and you're just seeing win. Italy being the one you thought might be, and it was a bit close in the end. This was the game I wanted in the Arnold Clark Cup. I wanted to face Brazil, a team that they are winning. They're teams that win trophies. They are of a standard, international high quality standard. Sarina, I think the only teams in the top. I think France. I can't remember what the other one was, but France is one of them. One of the few teams that Sarina England hasn't played. That's in the top 30, I think it is, teams in the world. So the fact we've gone unbeaten against, I think, 28 of them is pretty impressive. But this is exactly the challenge I want. I want to see this England team suffer. In fact, really, and this is going to sound like...
Did you just say you want to see them suffer? What?
I want, because if it is a procession, if these games are just like 10-0, 9-0 wins, you're not being challenged, so your flaws aren't being exposed. So that when they
now I understand what you mean. I was about to say, don't do that to me. I have to suffer with the men. I don't want to suffer with the women. Please.
I'm talking from a railway test perspective, where we have the systems and we have to break them. Basically, we have to find where the faults are in the system, where the thing fails. How do you fix it? You don't see how great a team is, by playing Luxembourg and winning 10-0 every game, because then that offers you no insight into what's wrong with the team. We had Millie Bright absent from back line, so I think it was Jess Carter come in. So that's another change. That's saying, right, can we cope with one of our best? We were so lucky at the Euros that we had a starting 11 clean injury record, which is just was unheard of. But now we've got a situation in which, right, Millie Bright's injured. Okay, how do we cope? Right, we put Jess Carter in defence, we put Alex, and learning to cope. Beth Mead's now not there. How do we cope with that?
Lauren James.
Lauren James, exactly. So we got players that can come in and keep the thing rolling. Now, this is going to sound ultra negative of me. I don't feel comfortable with having this amazing unbeaten run, because for me, unbeaten runs have to end at some point, and I don't want it to be in a World Cup.
It can end after the summer. It can end after the summer. Let's get past the 2-year mark, please.
I know, but I mean, if something can, I think this England team, because it's been an incredible run. I think it's 30 games now, isn't it? 30 games unbeaten. It's an incredible run
since September 21.
Since Sarina took command.
Yep.
The last time we lost a game was England lost a game, not Team GB. I think it was when we played Canada in a friendly during lockdown, which was ahead of Risa. I do feel this England team needs to suffer a bit, because it has so are you saying they need a reality check then? Do think you need those moments where it goes, like, you stop and go, right, like, I think they need a defeat.
You might make it your wish tomorrow, because Australia lost to Scotland the other night.
Yeah, maybe.
And although there's no Steph Catley, no Caitlin Ford,
there is
Sam Kerr's going to be looking for a winner.
Exactly.
And Sam Kerr has played against every single one of them girls.
Yep, she knows her way around them.
So she knows.
Apart from Georgia Stanway this season.
Yeah, but she's played against her anyway, like previously.
In the past. So, I just think back to our Arsenal women's team last season, where in the league, in the first half of the season, it was like almost too easy, and then we got caught out. We went to Birmingham, and all around that sort of time, all our failings and stuff got root. And I think if we could have rectified these early in the season, we wouldn't have been caught out then. So I hope this Brazil result is the element of a reality check, because there were things in the second half that went wrong. We didn't have control of the game. We didn't control the possession, the territory. It was completely seeded, and quite frankly, by the time they did bundle it in via a Mary Earps error, Brazil warranted the goal. I should add with the Mary Earps, there was a part of me that thought, oh, Matt's been proved right. He's been proved right. He's finally his predictions finally come true. Just 4-6 months too late. But Mary Earps the blunder. Matt's like, I told you so.
To be fair, I have been waiting for that. Sorry, Matt.
We have been waiting for when is Mary Oakes stock's going to fall, and Matt's going to be like, I told you.
Well, you just basically added up to my point. So added time, Asa plays a through ball on the left hand side. The ball goes into the box. Mary Earps goes to collect it, and he spills it, and it's under Saya Alves who goes in and taps it in. Just want to get your thoughts, but I take it you've all had your thoughts on
just
this.
gutted. It's like, we're so close. It's just like, oh.
It's things like that where you look at, poor Adam's lost his glasses.
I can see now, but it was just head and hands, just no, we're so close.
Yeah, I actually stood up and applauded Brazil for that, because they dug in and they got the result. And
I sat there with my head in my hands.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people won't, but I actually wanted this game to be going
on penalties,
because it was going to be a test of how could we.
Honestly, I wish we got 120 minutes plus penalties, and that would have made it interesting.
I'm just wanting to see.
And that would have been a proper test, but.
I just wish I could have been at Wembley, so I'd see Matt as the only England fan jumping in the air and celebrating with that same emotion he got in that Euros final, saying, yes, Brazil have equalised, yes!
I wasn't there to sit next to him to take the picture, so...
I just stood up and applauded it, and Melissa did as well, because for Brazil to dig in like they did like that, and to get themselves... they've admitted themselves in that first half they were not at the races, as to say. And the fact that they dug in until the very last minute to get that equaliser, and just shows how good of a squad Brazil can be on its day, on their day. Okay, Mary Earps goes and spills it, but you're expecting someone to clear that. If no one's there to clear it, someone should be on the end to at least try and get rid of it. And no one was, and it was just an easy tap in for Andres Aya. But fair play to Brazil. They got the equaliser. It goes to penalties.
I think also that we need to remember Brazil are in that top 10
For a
in
reason.
the world.
Yeah.
They might be down the other end of the scale at night for the moment currently, and we might be at 4, but they are one of the top teams in the world. And as a football fan, doesn't matter, men's, women's, you want to see your country play the best teams to become the best.
Yes.
And this is the kind of game that we need.
Yeah.
I think that wake up call. They need to think of a plan B. Like, no disrespect to, I think, some of the young Clark Cup teams. I love the fact that you were showcased, but you weren't a major challenge.
No.
And I hate to say that because there's some good players in that tournament. And I feel really horrible for saying it, but for that mini tournament, you want to see teams like France in there. You want to see the USA there. You want to see the Germans there, but we've already beat them. So, but you want to see, say, someone like Sweden. They're ahead of us. The USA are ahead of us. And even throw the Netherlands into the mix, even though Viv is injured. They're the teams you want to see what happens with Plan B because of past records.
I'm amazed.
Especially with the Netherlands.
I'm amazed.
The last person, I think I saw a Millie Bright thing. Who was the last person to score against England? Right? And she guessed, Millie Bright says, "Oh, Viv Miedema." The person doing the interview, no, it was you.
Yeah, your own goal. Well, that was before, obviously, when the friendly, when we got, scored. Martin scored, we got 5, but
of course, but that was just the general joke. I just thought it was
really bright own goal. That was an awkward moment there. I'm just surprised that Sweden is still ahead of us in the rankings, considering the 4-0 hammering we dealt them in the Euros. For me,
just though. It's not like major. I mean, it's. Hang on, let's have a look at this. So the points at the moment. Sweden are on 2,064.67. We're 2,055.82.
So we're closing up. The line.
But
for me, it all comes down to games management those last few minutes, and clearly the Lionesses forgot their Wembley trick of keep the ball in the corner for 15 minutes and kill the game off. They failed to do that, and ultimately that was their undoing.
To be honest with you, there's like 13 points in it from fourth to second in the rankings.
That could all be changed come the World Cup then.
Indeed,
so
I think the USA are safe for a while to be number one. They're nearing that 2,100 point mark.
Just to finish off the finalissma, the penalties. So just to go through them all quickly, Georgia Stanway, Rachel Daly, Alex Greenwood and Chloe Kelly all scored. Ella Toon missed for England. Brazil, it was Adriana and Caroline who scored, and it was Tamares and our very own Rafaeli who missed.
Yeah. Bit unlucky that. I felt bad. I felt bad because it's Hafa. I mean, of all the players I wanted to have the miss, Hafa wasn't the one. But
I've got to be honest though, with Hafa, I was sitting there saying if she gets this, she's got no excuse not to score against United on the 19th.
Yeah,
and she missed.
She missed.
And I was actually really happy about it.
I mean, the good thing about penalty shootout is it's a good chance for retribution, for for Earps to sort of make up for her mistake. And she did in the shootout. I mean, she should have saved the first one. I mean, that was she got the hand to it. That should have gone out. And then she thankfully she got the second one as well. Bailed her teammate too. Now that was a very good save. And then basically, Hafa hit the bar for us. But the rest of the penalties, I mean, I think Stanway got a bit lucky with hers. I think the keeper in the right way and actually got some fingertips to it. Yeah. The rest of them were pretty good. I think, it was Daly, wasn't it? Daly got hers in, and sorry, who was
as a striker?
As a striker, yeah, not a bad finish for a right back.
I had a really good interesting conversation with
a head concussion.
Yes, a concussed Alex Greenwood scored a penalty, which is an interesting, medical stance taking that one. I think she's out now, isn't she? She's gone back to training.
Gone back to Man City, and there was no replacement for the Australia game.
No, sadly not. But England winning a penalty shootout, I mean, it's the first.
It's not like we haven't done it before.
Well, for the Lionesses, it's their first ever shootout win. They lost the previous two, 1984 Euro final and 2011 World Cup quarter final. So again, it's another hurdle, cleared. They haven't had that pen shootout experience under Sarina. They've had it now. They've won it. It could well be another game comes to penalties, and they'll know that they can do it if they put Chloe Kelly last on the kicks. They'll be fine. Again, these experiences you only get in these situations. So thankfully, it sorted itself out, and we got the trophy.
With our turn goes on to the game against Australia. Yeah. As already mentioned, Australia lost to Scotland 1-0. Nicola Doherty scoring the goal, and what a goal it is! If you haven't seen it, she hits the ball from the outside of the box, and the ball just curls straight into that top corner.
Oh, that reminds me of a Freedom Arnhem one.
No deflection this time.
An undeflected Frida Leonardo Mornham goal. I've got to see that.
Yeah, definitely.
It was a fantastic goal, and it was the difference between the sides. So I just want to get everyone's thoughts on how we think we're going to line up for this one for the game at Brentford, unfortunately.
Well, no, the fact that it's at Brentford's a bit disappointing to start off. Don't get me wrong, the B Stadium, it was great for Spain and Germany. Me and Adam were there.
Yeah.
So it's great. It's a great little ground, but I'm a bit disappointed on venue selection. A bit just come on, it's Tuesday night. You've got the Emirates that's empty. Do you know what I mean? We're not going to be used for the next week because we're away in West London. East London. So why are we not using that? But I think it's going to be interesting. Obviously, you got the likes of Sam Kerr. As I said earlier, she's played against every single person on that pitch, and she'll know Jess Carter and what Jess Carter's weak links are. So she could be very well go and carve her up down her side if she starts, and get her way through that way. But then again, she knows everybody in that full defence, and I have a feeling Lotta's going to start. I really don't want her to because I need her fit for Wolfsburg. But other than that, it's going to be an interesting game. Put it that way.
Just a few points we could point out with the Australia-Scotland game. It was a momentous occasion. It was something we'd all been waiting to happen, and it finally did. That Sam Kerr finally met Sam Kerr. It's something we've been waiting to happen for, and it finally happened. The two titans, the two titanic Kerrs of women's football met at last. So hopefully there's been a princess and a pauperous confusion, and the two have swapped places, and all of a sudden we've got Sam Kerr of Scotland lining up in Australia to, we can only pray.
Swap shirts afterwards.
It did swap shirts, yes.
Adam, you can dream.
I have wild dreams.
We don't need to know that.
No, it's not.
We don't need to know that.
For those of you who have watched the Arteta post-match press conference when they were talking about the Trossard signing, that is what that is referring to.
I hope so.
It is indeed. I'm all for the Brentford Stadium. Like I said, I've been there, and it's a fantastic ground, and it's great that they're continuing the women's football legacy they had at the Euros. I think what we have to accept is, unless the game is an exceptional game like a Euros final or a finalissima match, you're not going to sell out Wembley Stadium for England versus Australia as a friendly for the Lionesses. We're not at that level yet. I'd love it.
The advantage is for this at the moment is the school holidays. That was my point.
I just think with the Emirates Stadium, I don't think we'll fill the stadium. I mean, I think of the Arnold Clark Cup were all three stadiums massive sellouts?
Yep.
Every single ground in the Arnold Clark Cup, every one.
I think so.
I think
so. I'm probably more than likely wrong because I didn't exactly follow that
single game though.
Like I do the international fan days.
I believe it was a bit similar to last time out where you had to buy your other ticket through Ticketmaster. I'm not 100% sure on that though.
My feeling with Brentford is it's a Premier League quality ground that we will almost certainly fill with the level of demand for a game like England versus Australia. I think, and it's that balance between getting a high quality stadium, but also a capacity that will match demand. And that's tricky because the old games used to be, all over the country, but in lesser, no offense to the stadiums, but in stadiums of a much lesser capacity and not of a Premier League quality. You think of some of the frozen pitches we have with the, in the WSL. So the fact that we're in a quality stadium that has a small capacity, I'm fine with. And I think it's great also that the women's football does move about, and it will go to the different stadiums. And it would be nice if we played at West Ham's ground, although if you notice West Ham don't like women's football being played in their stadiums for some reason. Don't know why.
No, let's be serious. They've not been exactly very supportive.
No.
So, and it is disappointing.
What's going to happen with that in the future? They're hoping to, I believe it's going to be their last home game. They're looking to change to Dagenham and Redbridge to the West Ham Stadium.
Who have West Ham got into the season?
I was going to say.
I'm going to have a stab in the dark and say it's not Arsenal because they've got Villa.
We've got Aston Villa, and
so
I still can't get a ticket for that.
Their last home game. So I will have a quick look. In the meantime, people's predictions for the West Ham game.
West Ham game? You mean
West Ham? You mean Australia?
This is all your fault.
West Ham versus Australia. Yeah, this is what it's going to be. It's a thrilling contest.
I think Sam Kerr would have a field day.
West Ham at home to Tottenham. I think Sam Kerr would have a field day.
That'd be interesting.
Spurs will probably bottle it. It's the East End derby between two East End titans of Spurs and Leyton Orient and West Ham. Nice local derby.
It's the one thing I like about West Ham. They hate Spurs as much as we hate them. So
everyone hates Spurs. I mean, we have to. I mean, because obviously we're unbeaten. I predict that the role will keep on going. Australia are not. Brazil, they may play in yellow, but the Matildas, stripped of Steph Catley, stripped of Caitlin Ford. Sam Kerr is the main threat. If you can neutralise Sam Kerr, then we should be okay. Although shout out to Mary Fowler, even though she hardly plays for Man City, Fowler is a talent. As we saw, and I just think also back to the Olympics. I remember when we got knocked out, Team GB of Olympics to Australia, and obviously Team GB and England don't fully equate. But I'd like to see a bit of vengeance on that one. So I'm going to go for a win. I'm going for a 2-1 win.
See.
I'm going to go 3-1 because I was thinking 2-1, but I'm like, no, I'm a bit greedy. I'm going to go 3-1. Unfortunately, that one goal from Australia is going to come from Sam Kerr.
Yeah.
If I don't say it, it's going to be worse. So that is just how my prediction goes. If you look at previous shows when we talk about Sam Kerr, yeah, she's going to score. She usually gets one. So
Lauren James hat-trick for England.
Maybe an assist, but I'm looking towards Rachel Daly. I'm waiting for that screamer. I'm waiting for it. Although she will be subbed on for Russo. Because Russo is obviously our chosen start by now. But
future Arsenal striker.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see.
It's inevitable.
Matt, what's your prediction?
See, I was actually, funny enough, Lottie, saw a little video clip of a certain Farrell Williams deciding to say that at some point England are going to lose between one of these two sides. Yeah. Between Brazil and Australia, and you would have thought perhaps it would have come against Brazil. But it was a trophy. It was at England, and England win at trophies on their own home soil. So for that, if Australia are going to do something, they need to do something special. They don't have Alana Kennedy as well. That just add that to the mix.
Oh, right, okay.
So I'm finding it difficult to say, can England lose this one with who's out?
Yeah, I hate to say this, but I feel like if Lana Kennedy wasn't out, Caitlin Ford, Steph Catley, if they weren't out, Australia would have a chance against our girls. But I can't confidently say that. But if we're going to lose one, I'd rather lose now than in the World Cup.
Interesting. I think we played Australia at Craven Cottage, if memory serves me, just before the 2019 World Cup, and I think that was a 1-1 draw. back then. But if I remember, I think if I remember serves, because it was what was this while back, it was pre-COVID. I think we had some really bizarre ref calls, and I think we basically dominated them, and we got stung with a late equaliser. It could have been from Sam Kerr, as far as I know. Something to look back on. So yes, there's a chance again for a bit of correct the wrongs of the past. I wouldn't be surprised if somehow we end up losing this one, and it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to suffer to that level going into World Cups again, because there may be shortcomings, there may be mistakes in the way Sarina has us set up, and we need to fine tune it. But hopefully
still haven't announced who our pre-tournament matches are against as well. So just let that sink in as well.
I did think these were the last ones before we actually went off to the World Cup.
There'll be some warm-up fixtures, surely. There'll be some sort of...
You have your warm-up fixtures. Remember, in the Euros, we had against the Netherlands, and then we went away to Switzerland.
They'll probably be announced close to the time. They probably haven't organised it yet, to be fair. Because obviously they're going to have to be climatised to the... Well, it's going to be winter by the time we get there. It's our summer, but they're winter. So...
So
we'll be fine playing in the cold.
For our last topic,
we're acclimatised from playing at sitting in Meadow Park all this time. We're used to the cold.
Well, it's all right for the girls. They're running around. It's us who freeze. We stand there. We're dry, but we're cold. Yes, we're dry, but we're cold.
Before we move on to our last topic, I will just quickly mention that Arsenal's next game is in 9 days' time against Manchester United away at Leigh Sports Village. A 7:15 kickoff. I just want to get both your thoughts about this, because I will come to my thoughts after we'll get both of your thoughts.
I think Angry Matt's going to come out. So for me, to be honest with you, I don't get a chance to travel away games.
Yeah.
But from conversations with both of you, it's awkward to get to. They haven't thought about the fans. Whereas the at-home fan like myself, nice and easy, wind down, have dinner out, glass of wine. Weird.
Yes.
They just haven't thought about the fans, and that really irritates me. It's all about TV fixtures, and it's not on.
Yeah, we should make a public information notice to say that there is no train station at Leigh. There is no train station at Leigh. There used to be until a certain Mr. Beeching took it away. So you cannot get the train to this place. The only way to get it is a bus. From maybe another station 4 miles away or so. I went to the Leigh Sports Village on my Euro tour, and as someone who drove there, it's really easy to get to. If you're driving there and you have a hotel booked across the road to stay overnight so you can drive home the next day, then it's convenient as anything. But if you're looking for a quick trip up and back again, it's horrific. And it's a real shame that they've the contract that Manchester United have with Leigh Sports Village. Okay, you don't want all the games to be at Old Trafford, but they haven't arranged it with a ground that has really good transport links, really good in terms of parking. In terms
they've just thought of their practicalities and not the fans.
Exactly, and then you can
personally, and I know there's a lot of fans. I know one particular Man United fan. She loves going up to Leigh. She's a season ticket holder, and it's noisy there. Whereas you look at the games at Old Trafford.
Yeah, I do have some bits of it, because I would always think, well, you don't want to help the away fans, but it impacts the home fans as well, because it's a long way from London for the Man United fans to travel up to watch their team play. So it works both ways. I wish they'd chosen a ground that was easier for everyone to get to, but it is what it is. It would have been nice to have been at Old Trafford, considering what's at stake.
Considering here. It's Arsenal and it's Man United, two of the top three. Yeah, 2 of the top 3. Do you know what I mean? Especially with the history between the 2 clubs and how the competition between the fans and everything is changing. It should be at Old Trafford. I mean, if it was, I'd be jumping on the train up. I don't care.
And think back to
London, just to follow the girls. The Arsenal end will be filled out, no problem.
The reverse fixture at the Emirates Stadium, taking my Arsenal bias hat off, was a brilliant football match, and it would not have been as good I mean, I love Meadow Park, but that level of spectacle would not have happened at Meadow Park. Just the amount of fans we got in, I think it was over 30,000. The entire lower tier booked out. Ding dong, ball going each way.
75% of upstairs was sold out as well.
Oh, okay.
As well, from where I was sitting, I was sitting behind the United bench. I was not happy.
We got 30,000 in. We got a really good crowd in for it. The football was electric. Okay, defensively we were sloppy for reasons beyond our control. Some great goals, drama at the end, exactly what you want from a football match. Yes, it was at expense, but we're not going to get something similar at Old Trafford, which we could do. And I think this is Chelsea do this and Man United do this. Is the only games they will play in their bigger grounds are the games they see as the easy win, the bankers. That's why Man United
wins, but you can't grow a game on that though.
Yeah, and I think
that's
why
the massive problem. Because I think, was it Reading the last team they played up at Old Trafford?
They played West Ham.
West Ham. Well, West Ham again. West Ham is a perfect example.
Yeah.
When have they played in the London Stadium? When did they get the opportunity to play on these massive pitches? They're playing their advantage, yes, but you've got to think about the teams you're playing. Chelsea don't look like at home at Stamford Bridge. We do. We play there more frequently than most other teams. And then you've got teams like, I don't want to single Reading out, but looking at Reading, they don't have the men's Premier League side where they should be. They're in whichever league they're in, below the Premier League. They will never get the opportunity to play on the men's size pitches. West Ham do not have the support. And as you said, it's always guaranteed wins. So how would you expect your fans to come like the Arsenal fans do if you don't put the big games on in the big grounds?
I applaud.
I mean, Arsenal have got it right.
I applaud Arsenal's bravery to put the high importance, the big name fixtures. They removed the competitive advantage of being in a small better bargain, saying no, we're going to gamble. We're going to throw this at the Emirates Stadium. We're going to gamble that forget about we're at Meadow Park where the pitch is smaller, the fans are closer, we're more used to playing there, it's a home advantage. It's like, no, we're going to put the big name fixtures in the stadium they deserve. And I think fair play to us, have been brave, and it paid off last season. We beat Chelsea at home, beat Spurs at home in the Champions League. It's definitely helping us. And again, that's another point. Is the fact that
with the Champions League though, I have to single that out because it's mandatory. Quarterfinals and onwards, we need VAR. That's just basic rules.
We look much more at home playing in that stadium in Champions League.
Oh no, I'm not disagreeing with that.
Exactly, yeah, because the groundwork we've done well.
That's kind of mandatory sort of thing.
It is mandatory. It is mandatory, and I'm glad it is. But if we look at how
it's not a choice by Arsenal, it's mandatory.
No, it isn't.
That was the point I was trying to make.
Although the group stage was a choice by Arsenal, I think. But they certainly not
that was a choice. But from quarterfinal onwards, it's mandatory.
But if we look at Chelsea and how they struggled at Stamford Bridge when they shouldn't have done, because I think they've only played there once this season, that was against Spurs. Again, an easy win. So no, I'm really disappointed with Man United. I think there would have been a really good chance to really push the brand. Old Trafford was obviously the starting pistol for the Euros. I was there for that. It was we were all there for that. Well, all three of us. It was an amazing occasion, and it hasn't. And this could have been something similar. You think of and is it a midweek game now? Is it
it's a Wednesday night? Yeah.
Wednesday night, Old Trafford. I mean, I don't know if maybe there's a fixture clash with the men's team. I don't know, but it is a shame, and it's going to be in a ground where you're not going to get anything close to what the fan draw was at the Emirates Stadium. But it's a massive game. We need to win it. If we win it, title race absolutely on. We did the Man City game. We just got to do that again, and it's going to be hard. No Katie McCabe because she got suspended again. So we're going to have to do without our
not
match
for
winner.
a silly reason. That's put Kelly a foot in front. If anything, it should have been a yellow card for Chloe Kelly because she was in improper conduct. If I'm honest.
So it should have been a card for Chloe Kelly. But the reason Kate McCabe got her card was because she was back chatting the ref, and she's done so well at curbing that this season. It was going to happen at some point.
She's got to curb her enthusiasm.
Could have been worse. Could have been a lot worse.
I would have said, but I'm not saying it's right, but the referees will sanction you if you're talking to them like she did. Obviously, that's why she got the yellow card. It was nothing to do with Chloe Kelly. Chloe Kelly should have moved. End of. But the reason she got the card was the attitude and the back chatting.
That is Chloe. That is Katie McCabe. It's that aggression. That is part of
that's
why
we love her.
And why we love her. And it's why she scored that worldie at the end to win the game. But unfortunately, the trade-off is that she does rack up bookings. That's why there is a Twitter account devoted to the fact of, has Katie McCabe got a yellow card? I mean, it's I'm not going to say it's like Xhaka levels of predictability.
She managed to last as long to United at home without getting a card. Like, I think I said to Matt, that guy I was sitting behind him, I said today's the day she's getting a card. What happened?
He got a card. Yeah.
Just to finish off on this topic, I'm a bit disappointed in Manchester United. I'm disappointed in the BBC as a whole. They could have turned around and made this an 8 o'clock kickoff. Would have made it easier for fans to get at least down there and get to their hotels, etc. But Manchester United's unique selling point is having a stadium in the middle of nowhere with not a very limited transport links. So let's just put it that way. I know Lottie's laughing, but it's...
I'm really trying hard not to, because I knew what was coming.
Well, the thing is, what they've done though, what you understand is Matt, is they've put the stadium in, amongst where all the Man United fans are. That's why it sits in the middle of nowhere. Well, that's where all the Man United fans are.
If that's the case, they might as well just move it to the Isle of Man.
As well. Yeah, we'll call it Isle of Manchester.
There we go.
You might, the way you two, Karen, you might as well put the bloody game at Milton Keynes.
Hey, I'll be keen for that.
No, the roundabouts will win that game.
Here come the puns.
Okay, well, we're going round in circles here. Let's move the
the last topic I have is the social media. We've seen the ups and downs.
Oh no.
This week.
Yeah.
But I want to say special thank you to some special people who have also been very helpful to us. Adam's friend over in the US, very huge supporter of women's football as well as women's musicians as a whole. Is it Damien? I apologise for that in advance. When you come back, it's Matt that you can have on Twitter for that. Damien, and there's a load of others that we talk to and say that how much of a huge thing. Adam himself has been wowed by the fact that you've put out a little screenshot and all of a sudden you've been quote tweeted and been
yes.
I think now already. I myself saw another Twitter account calling for Hempo to come to Arsenal. She's just come out to her parents over this Easter.
Brilliant.
A huge positivity around, and it's great to see that side of social media, and I'm hoping that it long continues for everyone. Unfortunately, there are some dark sides. I don't really want to speak about them, but
no, let's not.
We don't know what goes on in people's heads.
Yeah.
So, let's just call out the positivity. So, Lottie, is there any positives that you can take away from anything
from
that
this weekend? From this weekend, the only positive I got, I've only just witnessed what happened, and I'm glad I was not here for it. I would have lost my rag.
Absolutely.
I will defend that. I will. I'm going to name her. I will defend Beth Mead to my grave.
So,
I will not have the way that people have spoken to her, and the way that things have gone on. It's unacceptable. It doesn't a lot of people who do listen to this podcast will know I do not like Sam Kerr. I hate Sam Kerr, but I am not that type of person to go over that line and go and abuse her on social media.
No,
I don't have energy for that. I don't have time for that. I'm not that person. But some people are so unhappy with their own lives, they have to go and upset people. No. Have someone mind I get you. I'm not happy, so I'm going to go and upset you. And the fact that Beth has replied to this person, who I admire her, she is an absolute hero. The Arsenal fan base love you. Doesn't matter what anyone else says.
Yeah,
we want you at that World Cup. That's the goal. If you're not ready for that, do not push yourself so you don't come back to us next season. We want you back on those wings. Gio needs a mentor.
Absolutely.
That's my opinion. Although she plays completely differently. I know you two both disagree with me on that. But we need her back on the wings. The girls have stepped up, but her and Viv are the missing ingredients.
Yeah.
And if the girls continue to play like this with Beth and Viv back on top form, we're definitely title challenging next season. I don't care what anyone says. I'm not afraid of anybody. But I think it's also a case of people needing to remember, like, one simple act of random kindness a day will make you feel better. I mean, and like yesterday, on the way to the Arsenal game, well, not to Liverpool, but down the pub, there was a lady in the train station, and I stopped and I said to her, "Do you want some help down the stairs?" Sort of thing. And I took her down to her train. She goes, she's in her 80s. I just took her down. It does make you feel good about yourself, even on a bad day. It's just little random things like that. And even if it's a complete total stranger, it will be appreciated. Honestly, even if it's your friend or a family member, it will be appreciated.
I had sort of half similar experience when I was going to an Arsenal game. I think it might have been a women's game at the Emirates, and I was getting the train up, and there was a mother and a child, and the child was a bit noisy, and was very it was late at night. Was obviously very tired, and I was able to sort of help and sort of keep the child sort of relatively entertained until the end of the stop, and it was. Because there's always an element of sort of social sort of awkwardness when there is a child who is sort of say playing but we was able to sort of suppress that, and she was very very grateful. So we say that was able to sort of keep, and I think that's true, and it doesn't happen enough. They're just simply helping out strangers. I would also say with again echoing your sentiments with Beth, don't waste your energy with these awful people on Twitter who want nothing more than just
the thing is, they all hide behind faceless accounts.
Absolutely, hide behind faceless accounts or accounts with players.
If you put your face on your account, they will come for you, and that's the funny part in all of this.
Yeah,
like I think it's really pathetic.
It's pathetic. It's cowardly. Don't waste your energy with them, because the people who do love you are the people you're concerned about, and that is the Arsenal fan base and the Lioness fan base. We know. Also, shout out for Beth. She's now got the freedom of Scarborough, I believe it is as well.
Yes.
So massive congratulations for that. Fully warranted. And just keep being yourself, Beth. We all love you. We all care for you, and we can't wait to see you back on the pitch soon.
One thing that I've completely forgotten as well is another girl from the Northeast. Jill Scott came out to deliver the finalissma trophy as well. She's also been talking to a lot of other people. She's been helping out with the football sessions over with McDonald's as well. She's come into her own sort of strides, if you like. And I was just thinking about this now. If you had to have a champion of football in each region, if you were looking for someone who would be able to develop football in their region, if you would like, you could put Yankee as North London, Kelly Smith as maybe say Hertfordshire, then you have Jill Scott's Northeast. You've got a hope and prayer that development in those counties will hopefully come through. And it was great to see.
Again, I think this all comes down to funding and the availability of academies. A good friend of ours, Alistair, me and him were talking earlier. There were some comments towards the Lionesses that were not very comfortable, and I'm not. How do I put this? I didn't appreciate it, but Alistair made a very good point. Is it all comes down to the academies and the funding, and if you don't have those academies in the inner city, say, of anywhere in the country, you're not going to get the girls to come. And I think that is one of our biggest issues.
This is something that actually got raised. So the academies that, like, I think Dan Carter would have come from, thinking of Romford way. A lot of those sort of academies got were removed. The funding got cut, and it was only, I think, academies out in the sticks and the countryside. If you wanted to be a young player, it was, and that's why the squad is less diverse, shall we say, because the players, the academies are positioned in areas that will attract a certain demographic and exclude other demographic. Otherwise, that other demographic is going to travel miles to get the opportunity. So they don't feel
then there's not very many that will, and that is disappointing. But again, the Lionesses have the opportunity to get those academies up and running again.
Absolutely, and
I know Lotta would have thought of it.
Absolutely,
that's just the kind of player she is, because that's what she does. She does so much for Hackney, That's got to be a part of the Lionesses' ideas, surely, Matt.
That's the idea I was trying to get behind, is that it's not, I wasn't trying to say like there's a champion in every single region. It's about developing the country as a whole.
Oh yeah, no, I kind of got the gist of what you were saying, but it was just, I just had to be sure. Do you know what I mean?
We need to make sure
we steered it in the right direction.
Each region,
how to.
So it should.
But there's plenty of programs.
Even if it's a champion from each individual club, so like down in Brighton, you've got, is it Danielle Carter still down there?
Yeah.
Got Dan Carter. From Reading, you've got Rachel Rowe.
Yeah.
And it's like you can get these girls to be champions, and for the local area, the girls will come, because
the thing is,
we want to play football. Do you know what I mean?
Academy football,
boys anymore.
Academy football and the women's football is difficult, because there isn't the same sort of like under 15, under 16 sort of system.
No, I get that.
This is what Jonas was saying when we remember all the argument about under soil heating, we need to fund that, and Jonas is like, no, fund the academies, and there needs to be a system in place where you have that catchment, academies that are,
that's what I'm saying,
will get all the different areas, but also have a proper, like we didn't have, apparently I heard the other day, like under 21 sort of women's football only came in when Sarina came in. And that's why a lot of the women footballers started so young.
Even with ours, Kelly Smith's come in. It's the first time I've heard about under 21. Is it under 21?
Yeah.
She's got that.
First
time I've heard about it. I'm like, oh, does that mean I can go watch them at Academy as well?
I think it's not under 21s. I think it's the under 18. She might be.
I think I thought it was 21.
Might be a bit lower down. She might be the lower under 12s. But this is
so I was just going to add quickly onto that. The problem with no academies is a lot of the women's players come in much too young as footballers. So like Sarina Williams came very young. Vivian Miedema has been playing like high level football since she's been like 15 or 17 and now. And you think no wonder her ACLs are giving up at whatever she is now, 20, 26, 27 at a ridiculous young age. You do worry about burnout at the point when the player should be at their peak. So there is
but there's so much more as compared to the boys. Us females are a lot more complicated, and there's so much research that needs to be done.
100%.
Because if you look at the amount of ACLs we've had over the past year, I think Matt had a look at the ACLs throughout the football world, and it's almost hit 100. And these are the top elite athletes at the top of their game.
I will just mention this now. There has been another ACL injury.
What?
There you go.
This isn't a professional player. This is a player playing FA Women's National League level, and it's
still semi-professional, still professional.
Is having to go to private to sort out her surgery. Otherwise, it's going to be 9 months to sort it all out in the NHS. So that it's going to cost her $8,000. So she's had to do a GoFundMe because she's a carer for her mum. She's also a lecturer at college. She needs to be able to go off on her.
I think I've seen that on Twitter. I think I've seen it on Twitter. It might have been you who shared it, but I do recall you saying about a GoFundMe for someone's injury. So yeah, please invest. Please donate what you can.
On top of that as well, we should also remember Walking Our Name as well went over that ovarian cancer research, which helps as well with people like Beth Mead as well getting involved with that. So huge congratulations to everyone who donated and got involved with that as well.
Yeah, but huge shout out to the walkers who actually walked the 1,000. Yes. I mean, I couldn't do it. That's an incredible amount. So fair play to all of you who walked it. That's amazing.
Before I forget as well, we're talking about the academies. And I've heard a lot of bad stories about these academies where they're just used as checklists, and that's box ticking, box checks, whatever you'd like to say. It needs to be sorted, and needs to be arranged, and hopefully, fingers crossed, in the future these won't be problems. I think that is everything from us tonight. Thank you all for joining or listening to us, and you know what? I'm going to do something different for a change. Adam, can we have your Twitter handle, please?
It's Adam Salter 4, and the name is Adoria Saltova.
Just a pre-warning for everybody: Adam does change his name on a regular basis. That's the Arsenal Women's. I know this because I'm the one who has to put the tweets out. So be very aware that
if-
his
if-
handle never changes, but
My handle never changes, which is just simply Adam Salter 4. You can find me there, and a follow is always welcome.
Yeah. Okay. Now we're done with Mr. Popularity. Anybody wants to follow? Anytime.
Oh, please don't.
Every done.
I'm going to turn into Galadriel. All will love me and despair. That's what I'm going to be. My ego is going to go through the roof.
For anyone who's not sure, that was a Lord of the Rings reference. Adam is currently sitting at his laptop, and he is as red as the Arsenal football shirt.
No, that's just the lighting. That's just the lighting, I swear.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. If anybody wants to follow me and my random acts of tweeting, it's at Lottie_AWFC. I'm sort of there, but I'm not there at the moment. I'm just kind of enjoying my life in the real world, and as I said earlier, I'm glad I missed the whole Beth Mead situation. Oh, that toxicity is not good for the system.
So, Matt, what's your Twitter handle?
Oh, you don't want my Twitter handle. You'll probably likely see me at the job centre. I'm joking, Lottie. You can cut that out. I'm kidding.
Oh my god! Do you know what? You two are going to, like, you're going to kill me. The pair of you are. You're going to kill me. I thought my club was going to kill me. If anybody listens to this podcast realise that I go missing 1 week, first two suspects are Matt and Adam.
Oh dear.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's been an honour. My Twitter handle is @MattLR28, and it will be Matt Roberts, because no one knows how to spell Lorimer. Because I get Lorna, or I get Max.
To be fair, Adam does like to call him Roberts. He's forgotten about the Lorimer part, so.
I didn't know that was
Mr. Roberts.
Everyone just doesn't forget.
Just call him Liardson. Just call him Matt Liardson Roberts, and that's all fine.
Just call me Matt Pullover, and I'll be happy. Anyway, thank you for listening and watching to our rambling and rants and everything that we were discussing in between. This has been Vic Akers Wonderland. Thank you all for joining us, and speak to you all for the next one, which will be on Friday. So hope to hear from you all, speak to you all, listen to you on the comments as well. Don't forget to like, subscribe and comment as well. And we hope to see you all soon. Goodbye.